Yo, what's up, my brother? What's up, my sister? This is your boy Oscar Ntege again with yet another amazing tutorial. In this particular tutorial today, I'm going to show you how to do high-end skin softening, or call it high-end skin retouching for natural lit portraits. What do I mean? We're going to do high-end retouching, high-end skin retouching on this particular portrait. This particular portrait was shot in a shed in an outdoor location. The only kind of lighting that was used was the available light and a reflector. It was shot, I think, like 3-4 years ago. And this is a friend of mine, Ramona, a model. I'll leave the link to her Instagram account in the link below so that you can go and follow her. A very, very awesome model. And what we're going to do, we're basically going to come and put the tones right. When you look at the concealer game here, definitely did not go very, very well. We have these skin tones, all not matching, they're mismatching. We're going to have to do that. Definitely, we're going to remove these small pimples, and of course, that is basically what we are going to do in the whole thing. And we are going to also put the contouring right and all that stuff. So without further ado, let us dive into this particular edit. So the first thing you're going to do, we are going to use the patch tool. Okay, I know I have a lot of beginners here, so I'm going to keep the tutorial very, very basic and very, very, very easy to follow. I'm not going to use so much of techno-babble, because I know many of my beginner followers want to learn a thing or two. So we're going to go through the tools and understand which tools work best where. So the tool we're going to use First of all, we're first going to remove the big pimples and all these dark spots. Yeah, all these dark spots you see around. Yeah. Then after, we're going to remove the small pimples, right? Okay, let us do this. So you can get your patch tool right here, and then make sure it is source, destination. Transparent shouldn't be ticked, and then we just come circle around, then we drag to somewhere that is close. Why I'm using the patch tool is the patch tool is very, very good when you are dealing with big pimples and big uneven skin tones, if that really makes sense. Like patching, like somebody may have red heads and maybe black patches of scars and the like. So we usually use the patch tool for such kind of editing. Basically, you just circle around and then take it to a place close by. These are the first steps you do before going into doing even the frequency separation that we're going to use for retouching. So we just circle around and then drag to a close by place. Just still, when you look at this, we take it. So all these black patches, we just work on them by just, dragging to circling and dragging to close by a place that doesn't have pimples. And I think, let me also just come and patch out this so that the concealer is tries blending in. Same applies here. Yes. The big patches and pimples. So the next thing we're going to do right now, we're going to do what they call frequency separation. If you don't know what frequency separation is, basically we are going to separate the textures of this particular image. When I talk about texture, I mean all these pores you see, everything that has that tactile relief kind of texture. We're going to separate it from the tones. When I say the tones, I mean the hues, I mean the colors of this particular image. So the tones, these are the browns, yeah, the reds, the blues, the golds, yeah, all these are the tones, all these are the colors. So basically, look at it as separating the vocals of an artist from the instrumental, having the vocals. Let us assume the vocals are the texture and the instrumental are the tones. So here we're just going to have the same picture but separated in two different parts. So let me show you how we're going to do this. We're going to come and just duplicate this twice. Then we're going to name this tones, and you're going to name this textures. Yeah. So let us come here. So we're going to unsee this, remove the eye icon. So we come here in the tones, and then we come into filter, blur. You say Gaussian blur. Okay, we are going to put it to 0, and then we move it forward. Now, every texture you want to maintain, you have to make sure it is blurred out. The more texture you want to maintain, the more you should push the blur forward, but of course not taking it overboard. So we want to maintain, I think I love the skin textures around here. You know, basically every texture, every kind of texture you want to retain in the upper texture here, in the upper layer, we shall have to blur it out. So let us come, hope that is not confusing. Can I say that again? Okay. Now, every texture you want to maintain in the final image, it has to be blurred out. Of course, I love her textures. The only issue I just have issues with her skin tones. So let us just come and we'll blur it out like that. Okay, that is too much. I will just come and take it a little bit back until I don't see the texture anymore. I think I don't want you to cram digits. I want you to understand how the whole technique really works. You know, because when you cram digits, you end up, you know, just placing digits, and yet different cameras have different megapixels. The focal lengths are usually different. So it depends on how big your image is and how close or far away your image is from the camera, right? So let us blur it out until we don't see the textures anymore. I think I'll keep it at around that area 10. So I'll come here onto this texture layer, make it visible again, and then I come and say image, okay, sorry. So I select this, I come and say image, okay, I come here and say image, say apply image, and then you come here and say subtract. Remember, we are subtracting the textures we blurred out from this tonal layer and transferring them all up in this texture layer. So how do we do that? You just come here into layer and you say tones, because remember, we're just stealing tones from textures from the tonal layer, just like that. Yes. Yeah, then leave the scale at 2, the offset at 128, and then we say, okay. The other thing, we come here and say linear light there. So let us put these in a group. I just want to show you what I was talking about, separating the instrumental from the vocals. So when you look at this, if I'll remove this, the before, the after, when you look at it, basically there is no change. There is nothing like a change, because look, this is the same image as the one in the background, but the only difference is in this particular upper image, we have the textures and the tones separated, where we have the textures on their own layer and the tones on their own layer. Let me just get this. Oops, sorry. You know, where you have basically, yeah, I'll just do this. You see how the texture is basically all alone if I'm to move the image around. So this is the texture. The texture is on its own layer, and the colors are also on their own layer. So if I remove it, you realize that this image has no texture, you know. So I'll just come and press it back as it was. So now we're going to come and begin working on the skin tones, right? So you come select skin tones, And then you come and you select this. So how now? Here's where people. I saw somebody make a comment today in on YouTube saying that how do I know which part to select the tones and how to select the particular tones, and he was like, no, not many people talk about this. Now here is the thing: you look at the shape, you consider shape, you consider how light is hitting the particular part, and basically those are the two things you really follow. For example, if I'm to select here using the lasso tool, okay, if I'm to use the lasso tool here to make a selection over that area, definitely I'm selecting it in that shape because the forehead is a bit roundish. If I was to do over the nose area like that, definitely I'm selecting it like that because the nose is long, yeah, and the way the light is hitting this particular space is also comes in a longitudinal kind of way. So the shape of what you are editing determines how you are going to apply that Gaussian blur. So you come here, get your lasso tool, come and feather it at around 18. I'm feathering at 18 because this is not a very big image, and I don't really need a very, very huge feather. So I'm just going to come and make a selection here all around the forehead. You come and say filter, blur, and say Gaussian blur. So we're going to come, let me take it to 0, and then we blur this out. And not to a level that where it gets flat. That is what I see most people doing, and they end up having images that look completely flat. That is not our intention. Our intention is just to have the tones really looking, not so much. Yeah, that is okay with me. So come here still, press now Ctrl F. If you're using a newer version of Photoshop, you press Ctrl Alt F to repeat the action. Still here, select there, Ctrl F, like that. Basically, the goal is not to change her and give her to change her persona and the like, but the goal is to just enhance her beauty even more and give her that ideal look. I'm talking about ideal, not natural, because if once you decide to go into beauty retouching, you're deciding to take the direction of rococo and more of idealism. Basically, you're giving people how they want to look other than how they look like in reality. That is what beauty and glamour retouch is all about. It's about hype. It's about giving somebody, an enhancement of who they are. Look at them as putting their beauty on steroids. Yeah, that is what high-end retouching is all about. You press Ctrl F, unlike documentary and other photography genres. So you select all these. Still, you come in the neck area, like that. So I think I'm done with the tones. So the next thing we're going to do, we're now going to work on the textures. So how are we going to do this? To work on the textures, you come here, and then we're going to create a black and white help layer, just like that. Now, the black and white help layer is going to help us bring all the pimples at the forefront to emphasize them so that we don't miss out on seeing them. What we do, we just crush the reds. Once you crush the reds and take them in, see how all the pimples come at the front? Like that. So you come, select the texture layer again, and then we shall get our spot healing tool, and then you just Okay, so after getting you select the texture layer. So you come here, get your clone stamp, make sure the opacity and flow is in 100. Then we increase the hardness just a bit, and then we come, you press, the way the patch tool, this tool really works, the clone stamp tool, basically you steal texture from this particular zone that does not have any pimples and you cover it to that place. How do you do that? You basically click in that place that doesn't have pimples, and then you basically press the Alt key down, then you click at that place that doesn't have pimples, and then you click onto a place that has pimples so that you cover that and that. Alt click. You Alt click to select and click to paste. Alt click to select, click to paste. So let me do this faster so that the tutorial is not so long. I've done this for a long time so that it is now like third nature. For some reason it doesn't take really a long time. The goal is not to take away all the textures, but the goal is to get rid of everything that looks like a pimple, really. Yeah, all these whiteheads. By the way, if you've not yet subscribed to this channel, you should take a minute and, of course, subscribe to this channel right now, because you will not find anywhere on YouTube a channel that gives you these tutorials in a simplified way like I do on this particular channel. Yeah, not to brag, but I think I've made, in the few months I've been on YouTube, I think I've really helped hundreds and hundreds of photographers out there that had failed at this high-end retouching thing, So make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss a thing, because this is an opportunity you have to learn something new. Let me see that. So let us just remove this and see how we're progressing. I think I love the way it is already. I don't know, let us put it back and yeah, get rid of this. Let me just also remove these white heads here. Basically, it is us getting rid of these two overly emphasized textures. I don't want to get rid of all the pores, because I feel those are the things that give her that natural kind of vibe, that natural kind of look to the whole thing. So I'm just only getting rid of the white heads and the like. So let us remove this. Now, look at this, guys. I mean, isn't this so beautiful? Yeah, something shot with natural light, and again we give it this kind of feel. From that to that, that's the before, that's the after, before and after. I mean, this is, I think, something extraordinary. This is, man, that she's not distorted in a way, but we have just given her that natural vibe. Okay, so can we do some burning and dodging? Okay, I know this was not part of the whole tutorial and the like, but let us try doing some burning and dodging, right? Okay, let us do this. And so how are we going to do this? I think this time around we're going to use the curves with burning and dodging. So I'll just come here, get curves, and then I'll just pull these down a little bit like that. And then I'm going to rename this burn. Yeah. And then I'll press Ctrl I or Command I if you're using a Mac to invert. Then I'll come here, still in curves. I pump the highlights up. Then say Control I, and I'll call this dodge. Okay, now for you beginners who don't know what banning and dodging is, basically dodging in the old darkroom days, if an image was overexposed and there was need to darken it, they used a technique called banning, by exposing the bromide, by exposing the bromide paper, or leaving the bromide paper in the chemicals for long and long and long, so that it is, Then dodging basically was much more about, with the opposite of ban. Basically, dodging is brightening up and banning is darkening, So let us try doing this in Photoshop. So in today's era, Photoshop is our darkroom. So you come here and you get your brush tool here, and then we shall reduce the opacity to 9 and the flow as well to around 13 is okay. So you come and we begin painting over white with the ban layer selected, just like that. So the goal is just to do like a bit of contouring and add a bit of depth, because what frequency separation did, it basically flattened the image out. And since she wasn't wearing really too much makeup, she was putting on mostly a natural bit of makeup, we just want to emphasize the contours. Basically, she only did her eyebrows and the lipstick and a little bit of a nose contour and some bit of highlighter. I don't see her with a chisel, this blush that usually professional makeup artists apply. So we come and also burn over here. So we come and burn over the edges so that we bring her face in more. We draw more attention to her face. We burn over the chisel area. The same applies here. Like that. So the next thing we're going to do, we're also going to come and get onto the dodge, and then we just paint over here like that. We come and also emphasize the highlight here as well, there. Basically, this is a quick edit. We're not going so deep into. Come also in the neck area, we emphasize certain parts. So let us look at, I'll put this in a group, and okay, let us name, this was the skin, and this was the burn and dodge. I will name it BD. So let us look at the before. That is the before the burning and dodging, and that is the after. See how we've emphasized and given the face more shape? Let us just come and also dodge around this concealer area, so that there. Basically, burning and dodging gives that image more and more shape, and I think that's that for today. I think we've done really some great skin retouching, and I hope to see you in my next tutorial. If you've not subscribed to this channel, give this channel a subscription, hit the subscribe button, and in the comments below, tell me what has really resonated with you and what else would you want to learn from me in my upcoming tutorials. With that, I'll see you in my next tutorial, and adios.